Is it worth buying an iPad Pro of 2020 now in 2021, or should you wait for 2021 version, which is right around the corner, and we have some proof that it is coming up? Why? Because Apple recently deleted 40 million views from their channel, and it was from a commercial of iPad Pro, and they actually deleted it or made it private or made it in unlisted, right? So what this means, so it obviously means that we are going to see new iPads, and we have been hearing news about this, that we are going to see, in fact, this month in April even, we are going to see the latest new 2021 iPads. But still, no invites are out yet, so no confirmation yet. But according to speculations and some sources, we know that iPad Pro 2021 is in fact coming really soon. So the question which comes here is that should you wait for that iPad, or should you go for the previous generation 2020 iPad? Or just leaving all of that aside, should you go for the iPad Air? Because these three iPads are the one of the most hyped iPads right now, you know. Alright, so if we are talking about the specs, actually obviously we know Apple products, we do not really talk much about specs whenever we are talking about iPads and iPhones and in general any Apple products, because if we are going to compare any Apple product to an even budget Android or budget Android iPad, it is for sure budget Android iPad is going to win for sure in terms of on paper specifications. But in the real world, these things just does not matter for Apple products in general. So iPad Pro 2020 is powered by A12Z Bionic chipset, which is really powerful and it is really efficient too. But at the same time, in my opinion, you should, if you are concerning more, if the main concern is performance, then you should probably go for the iPad Air, because it is actually, first thing is that it is much cheaper than iPad Pro. Another thing, many people are talking about the camera things, right? The camera on the iPad Pro 2020 is better than the iPad Air. Obviously it is, but I have actually no idea. People do really take pictures on their iPad, because I think it is the main use of camera in an iPad is just to scan documents and maybe wait, except for scanning documents, what's the use of camera on an iPad? Oh, maybe use ARKit, right? And we can do that, but on iPad Pro we have a LiDAR sensor. So who really are into those AR things, I would say go for the iPad Pro 2020. So actually both of these iPad, the iPad Pro and the iPad Air, comes with a USB-C connector. So you know USB-C, it should be a standard for Apple products in general or any other product in 2021 in general, but apparently not every iPhone and iPad comes with one. But now Apple switched iPads to USB-C, so I can't wait for Apple switching the iPhones to USB-C, but I don't see that happening anytime soon, because Apple is apparently going to remove the charging port in general before switching to USB-C. Anyways, moving on, iPad Pro or 2020 or the iPad Air. So actually, in terms of gaming performance, recently one of my subscribers asked me in comments that if I want to play PUBG, and for PUBG, do you recommend me going to an iPad 2020, or do you recommend me jumping to the 2021 iPad, which is not released yet? Listen, it is not released yet, it is going to get released. So should I wait for that iPad, or should I go for the Pro one? So the answer is the iPad Pro 2020, the A12Z Bionic chipset is pretty damn fast, and it will actually easily last you for a couple of years. And still in 2021, the A12, even the A12 Bionic, I'm not talking about the Z one because Z is faster than A12. A12 Bionic on the iPhone XR, XS is so fast, and it is still comparable to the A14 Bionic iPhone 12. Obviously A14 Bionic is much more faster. The A12 Bionic is fast, but A12Z is 12.5 version of the A12. So in terms of performance, still I would actually recommend at the end of the day, if you are going for the iPad Pro 2020, you are not doing a wrong thing. iPad Pro 2020 in terms of performance is a pretty darn good iPad, but in terms of performance, I'd still recommend you jumping to iPad Air. Why? Because iPad Air have A14 Bionic chipset, which is the latest and the greatest Apple offering in the A lineup of chips. And even in the iPad Pro 2021, we will see the A14 Bionic chipset. It will be a Z version or a X version. I am not really sure about that, but it will be just a tad bit faster than the iPad Air A14 Bionic chipset. Talking about the biometrics, how can you unlock the device safely? So on iPad Air, we have Touch ID on the power button, and it is not bad at all. Because COVID times is going on, and we are wearing masks whenever we are outside. But at the same time, we use iPad when we are in home, and Face ID is much more secure. So in terms of biometrics, I would still recommend iPad Pro, because the biometric system on the iPad Pro is really good, because it is Face ID plus. On suppose iPhones, the Face ID scanners are here and I can open it like this, whereas if I want to open it like upside down, I can't do it, whereas on the iPad Pro 2020 you can do it. So that's pretty dope, and I actually leave this one to you guys. Let me know down in comments below, does Face ID or Touch ID, does it really matter in your usage when you are using an iPad? And I think so. When you are using an iPad, you are basically in home and you are not wearing a mask. So I would give an edge to iPad Pro 2020 in terms of biometrics. So that's it for today's video. If this video was helpful for you all, consider dropping a like and subscribe to this channel, because I do these type of videos almost every day. And peace out, and I'll meet you all in the very next episode.